What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the 10-7 MMA podcast. I'm DS, and as always, I'm here with the handsomer Dino, Dino Bam Bam.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. For today, you can have it.
Okay. Yeah. What's going on, guys? The 10-7 MMA podcast. Thank you for tuning in again. Please like and subscribe. And as always, please follow us on Instagram, the7 MMA. We would really appreciate that. Yuri did it, you should too. I think that's our new catchprise.
That's right.
Yuri did it, you should
too. That's right.
Yeah.
And you can go check the stats, check the scoreboard.
Yeah. Hey.
Yuri does follow us.
Check it.
So, we're not saying, we're just saying.
Just saying.
We wanted to do another video breaking down a little bit more in depth the main event of this past weekend. Obviously, it was Alexander Volkanovski versus moving up to fight at 155 versus Islam Makhachev, the lightweight champion, in his first title defense. We just did a full video breaking down the entire card, but we wanted to do another one really diving into the main event. There's a lot to be said, and some of it good, some of it bad, but more than anything, I just want to say, and I touched on it in the last video, I'm just beyond impressed by Alexander Volkanovski. I really do think that he should have won this fight. I didn't like the decision overall. I just think that it's beyond inspiring. This man is 5'5", pretty much. He's fighting a weight bully, a guy who looked like he was probably about 180 pounds in there.
Yeah, he's looking big, per usual.
And he always does, exactly. And Volk is coming up. He's a 5'5" guy coming up to the heavier weight class to fight a guy that's big for the weight class.
And he's short for 55.
I'm
sorry, he's short for 45.
For 45, yeah,
so
man.
So he's definitely short for 55.
Dude, he is not a big guy.
But he's a dog, man.
He is an animal. And what a fitting nickname Alexander the Great is. And just all of that put together. And let's take the decision and the actual result of it away from it for a second. The way that he fought in there and the trash talk. And, dude, he's unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
I was sitting there like beyond inspired. Like, I was sitting there like I felt like a little kid like watching a superhero, dude. Like, I don't know, man. It was amazing. And if you haven't watched the fight and if you don't know, all the backstory and all that, just watch that fight and watch somebody who is, dude, unbelievable. I can only imagine. We saw glimpses of it, but the training that he did for this fight, unbelievable, man.
Yeah,
unbelievable. Just on that note, though, I do want to dive into a little bit on the scorecards.
Yeah.
And I know we both have some thoughts on it. Why don't you get us started?
Sure. First and foremost, I do just want to go
First of all, let's.
Yeah.
The judges scored it. What, 49-46?
One judge had it 49-46.
Which I think is absurd.
48-47.
Absurd to me.
Really quickly before that, I do just want to chime in on what you were saying.
Yeah, sorry.
I do think that, first and foremost, what a performance by Alexander Volkanovski. And that's not taking anything away from Islam Makhachev. He was the number 2 pound-for-pound guy coming into this fight. Tomorrow, we're going to wake up and they're going to have the new rankings. We assume we'll probably see Islam at 1. So, again, you're fighting the top of, the cream of the crop, the top of the heap, like whatever you want to call it.
And Islam, who looked and felt unbeatable.
Yeah. And
not just for Volk, but for anybody.
Anyone. And Volkanovski did something that most people thought was impossible, and that's come up there and not only make him look human, make him look beatable, and a lot of people think that Volkanovski did win. That being said, let's move on. Let's go into it. The first round. We'll start there. That first round was a very close round, in my opinion.
All of them were. I think all of them except for the 5th round were close.
So in that first round, towards the beginning, they're really not doing too much. And then you see Volkanovski cracks Islam, kind of gets him stumbling back into the fence. So, he's kind of winning the early part of that round until Islam cracks him, drops him to a knee. Volkanovski gets right back up, and then I believe the round ends with Islam controlling him on the ground towards the fence. Round 1 was very close. I think it's a clear 10-9 for Islam Makhachev.
100%.
How did you see that?
100%. There's no other way to see it.
Yeah.
It was a clear 10-9. You covered it exactly right. I was worried after that first round that this is what this was going to be.
Yeah.
And kind of what I expected it to be, right? Mm-hmm. Is, Islam doing okay on the feet, but wanting to get it to the ground.
Yeah.
And just controlling Volk on the ground.
Yeah. which is kind of what we all.
He almost had a rear naked on him in that.
In that first round, he was starting to like fish for it. I don't think Volk was ever in real trouble. He had a crank actually at one point.
Again, it was like Islam had his back against the cage, I think.
Yes, and he had Volk in like a neck crank.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's his round. That's a 10-9 Makhachev.
I think that was I'm glad it happened because after that, progressively through the first 2 rounds, you can see Volk kind of
starting to gain that confidence.
Confidence, especially on the ground. Well, more than anything on the ground. I think he's a better striker, you know. I think, that was not necessarily a bad thing for moving on for the rest of the fight for Volk because he showed that, look, you're in the position that he wants to get you in, and he's not doing shit.
Right.
So, but like you said, clear 10-9 for the first round. Yeah, I think that's one of the 2 clear-cut rounds for me.
Right. So then we move forward, right? And that's round 2. And round 2, me and you, when we were just rewatching it, round 2 is one of the closest rounds that I can remember in MMA, recent history at least.
Yeah.
Very, very close round. I have no problem scoring this round to Islam Makhachev, but upon rewatching it, me and you kind of, I guess, consensus decided that in our opinion it would go to Volkanovski. It was really close, but Volk ended the round sort of in the more dominant position.
Yeah.
He was kind of swarming him. And, he
dropped him.
Yeah, and that I don't know.
He dropped him. I know, man, but how was that not a drop?
Right, I agree with
you. By
what
account was that not a drop?
Right, I agree with you. He had Islam panic
because he
after that.
because he immediately shot for but he was dropped though.
Right. So we're in agreement.
He didn't slip into a single leg attempt.
Right. So we're in agreement there. I think round 2 goes to Volkanovski.
And that's bullshit because I genuinely think that if you do score that as a knockdown officially for Volk, the round has to go to him.
Yeah. Right. And I think even without it being scored a knockdown,
it's
there's an
very
argument
close.
To be
and
made.
There's an argument exactly
because when Islam did shoot that single leg, the panic single leg shot. He ended up getting Volkanovski's knee to the ground once or twice, but it was never like a full takedown. And then Volk got up, turned around, and kind of had him pinned up against the cage. So I mean, round 2 is close.
Round 2 is very close.
Score it how you want. To me, it went to Alexander Volkanovski upon rewatching it multiple times. And I know the judges don't really get the opportunity to do that. To me, though, it's 19-19 moving into the third.
Okay, and also I just want to say, in that second round too, Islam kind of stumbled Volk.
Yeah.
With a
right hand, I believe.
Looping right.
Or it was like the over.
It was like an overhand right. And Volk, he had his feet placed in front of him, and as he was evading, he got clipped by that. It wasn't like a clean shot, but he got clipped. But so his legs are in front of him, his head's back this way. Of course, you're off balance.
Yeah.
To me, that was way less impactful than
Islam actually
dropping to the ground, like folding to the ground.
Right. So you have it 19-19 through 2?
I would have said it's 19-19 through 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we move forward to the third round. And the first half of that third round, literally the first half, they were standing up. And they were
by this point, just real quick, this point, Volk is done caring about that. He's not worried about the takedown now.
Clearly. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't mean clearly, but I mean you could see that it seems like he doesn't care about the ground game anymore.
In that second round, especially in the beginning, he kept his stance a little bit more squared up.
Yeah.
And also kept that inside hand a little bit lower to defend against the level change. But after that, in the third round, I thought it was more of a swing round. I thought he really kind of started to let his hands fly a little bit more too.
So that first half of the round, just to give you guys some context, if you haven't seen it or if you have, and just a little bit of a recap, for the first half of the round, they're not really doing much. They're standing, they're striking. Little shots are getting in for both guys. Islam Makhachev hits a really big body kick on Volkanovski to the ribs. Yeah. And, that's the most impactful shot of the round so far. And then they continue going. Volk's landing a few leg kicks, and then he hits a pretty big leg kick on Islam, and that's kind of where we are halfway through the round.
He almost took him down, too. Well, that was more towards the end of the round.
Right, so then he ends up, at the halfway point, Islam goes for a takedown attempt, and he gets Volkanovski to his knee, but Volkanovski immediately
but didn't
fights
keep
out
him there, exactly.
No, immediately fights out of it, kind of hand fights, pummels away, stands up, breaks away. No credit there for a takedown. I don't think they officially scored it a takedown.
Because I don't think he was fully down at any point.
Right. So nothing was really done there. Volk then kind of just pins Islam on the cage, lets a big combo go, lands one of the 3 or 4 punch combo, pretty big shot, but it doesn't really affect Islam too much. And then that's kind of where the round ends. They separate for the last 10, 20 seconds. Another close round.
Very close.
Yeah, that I personally, again, would edge to Alexander Volkanovski. I don't have an issue scoring this one for Islam once again, but if you scored the second for Volkanovski, you cannot not score the third for Volkanovski is the way that I see it.
Because if you're using the same criteria, which you would hope that the criteria are consistent. Look, man, we don't have to get too much into the judging.
Yeah.
I just think that there's a lot of bullshit with UFC judging as it is. I think it's a legitimate problem.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there right now. I don't know. This was such a close round. It's very hard to score. Like you said, I could see it going either way. But like you said, man, if we're using the same criteria, I'm going Volk.
Right. So then that would mean that you have it 29-28 Volkanovski at that point. And then we move on to the most controversial of rounds, which was the fourth round. So at this point in the fourth, we're seeing that they're close. They're close everywhere they go. If it's on the ground, which there hasn't been too much ground time, but if they're pretty even. Like Islam isn't able to dominate Volk the way we expect him to, or the way that he expects to. And Volkanovski can't really dominate Islam on the feet the way that he expected to. So we're kind of at a stalemate here. Whatever you have the fight, scored through three, it is what it is. We get to the fourth. All three judges end up giving the fourth to Islam Makhachev, who had around close to 4 minutes. I think it was like 3 and some change of background control time.
Mm-hmm.
So here is where, everything kind of hits the fan for me personally, and I know for a lot of people as well. Control time outweighing damage. Volkanovski wasn't really doing damage, but he outstruck Islam while they were on the ground there.
He did do damage, though. He did do damage.
Right.
His eye was swollen up after the fourth round.
And Volkanovski had a little cut right here from...
Sure, but Islam's eye had noticeable damage from the 50 shots that he threw. I mean, this is not a powerful position to throw shots from. I get that.
Right.
But if nothing else is happening, and if he's not advancing positions, if he's not landing his own shots... Islam landed, 10 punches in the fourth round?
Yeah, I think it was like 50-10. I might be exaggerating, but I think that's what it was when I just watched it, and I was kind of counting them, but I'm obviously going to be wrong. But it was a lot to a little bit in terms of those strikes. The thing is, I went and actually looked at the MMA, judging criteria, the rule book, whatever. And it's effective striking and grappling, as we know, is the term that they always say.
Yep.
And striking and grappling are weighed evenly. But within striking and within grappling, they score the immediate threat of damage heavier than the accumulative.
For both criteria.
The immediate weighs more heavily than the accumulative damage does.
Yep.
Now, I don't think there was much immediate threat in what Volkanovski was doing to Islam, because you're not going to really, damage him doing this behind you. But I don't think there was immediate or accumulative threat or damage from what Islam was doing on his back.
He had 3+ minutes, almost 4 minutes, like you said,
with no official sub attempt.
No attempt, and no punches landed, no damage.
So,
and he left. He started the round with a good eye. He finished the round with a bad eye.
So to me, what that says is that we're going to go to strike. Like if there's a strike discrepancy of 50-10. It doesn't matter unless you've dropped me with those 10 strikes. But if you've done little to no damage and I've done 50 strikes of damage to your 10, I think that's my round personally if I'm in that position.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard for me to give Islam Makhachev a round where he just rode the back of somebody with no sub attempts and no strikes thrown while getting peppered in the face. Like, it's a fight.
A guy that's probably 30 pounds lighter than him.
Dude, and we're scoring a fight. This isn't just like a position competition. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a grappling competition.
That's why at the end of the day, you look at Makhachev's face, you look at Volk's face, and then, dude, to me, Makhachev got dropped 3 times in this fight.
Right.
They didn't score him 3, but...
No. I mean, so in this round, what do you think? You're giving this round to Volk?
I would give it to Volk.
So where are we at right now? That's 3-1 Volk
3-1
with
Volk,
10 nines.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we are. And
again, I just want to say, rounds 2, 3, and 4, especially rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah.
4, it's questionable, right? Because it's a
Sure.
very interesting situation.
I don't see it that way. I'm sorry.
No, and I'm glad you
But
don't. By all means, I totally understand where you're coming from, too. And I lean that way.
Yeah.
But I guess I understand that he was controlled. All I want to say is 2, 3, and 4 were so close.
Very close rounds.
No matter how you see it, they were very close rounds. So for me, I would still give it to Volk, though.
Right. So you're 3-1 Volk at that point, which is the same that I am. And then the 5th round, we don't even really need to talk about. That's the most obvious round of the fight.
We do need to talk about that this man put the fear of God in his eyes.
Yeah.
He looked like shook.
He
dude.
was shook.
He was shook.
Yeah.
He was like, bro, first of all, he looked at the clock multiple times throughout the fight.
Yeah.
Volk looked comfy in there. He was like laughing at him, making jokes and shit. I don't know, man. The 5th round, I'm not saying it was a 10-8 or anything like that, but he was doing serious damage. He was maybe a minute from finishing it.
Had there been another minute, it would be a 10-8. Was what was
Or
clear
it could have
to
been
me.
a finish.
Right, a finish or a 10-8.
He was doing
I agree
serious
with you.
damage.
I agree with you. And here's the thing. So we end up with the judges all giving Volkanovski that 5th round, which there's no way you can't.
Right.
So we have Volkanovski losing a unanimous decision, 49-46, and then 2 48-47s.
Yep.
Now, what those 48-47s indicate is that 2 through 4, you guys gave Volkanovski 1 round apiece.
Yeah.
And none of them gave him the 4th, which is absolutely bananas to me.
Yep.
I don't understand how in the world... Like, somebody made a point online, and I don't remember if it was Guru or if it was, Jesse on Fire, somebody. It was somebody big on YouTube, and I was watching their breakdown. And they were saying, I know for a fact that if that had been Sean O'Malley doing that to Peter Yan... Yeah, it was the Guru. If that had been Sean O'Malley with his back controlled by Peter Yan and he was peppering him with these little shots, that he wins that round.
Yep.
And I think that's the case for a lot of guys. But I think with the star power of Islam Makhachev and the powers that be, obviously they want champions from that region of the world. They have the contract with Dubai
it's his
or whatever
first
the
title
case is.
defense.
It's his first title defense. There's the Habib factor, the boogeyman factor of Islam Makhachev. So I understand, and I knew the decision was going that way before they read it. But like
I knew
you
the
said,
decision. If it was ever going to be a close decision, it was always going to go to Islam.
But why give the benefit of the doubt to the bigger guy, to the guy that has the clear, obvious
The guy
advantage
that's
going
fighting at
into
his
it?
normal weight. It's not.
Right.
He should be in welterweight.
That's what I'm saying. It was like the David versus the Goliath thing. Like, why give that guy the benefit of the doubt when the thing he wants to do? Like, we know that Islam Makhachev wants to dominate via his wrestling. He wants to take you down.
Yep.
He wants to control you. He wants to eventually find a sub or pound you out or whatever the case is. Why give that guy the benefit of the doubt when the thing he wants to do is not working, but then a guy in Alexander Volkanovski who wants the fight on his feet is able to keep it there?
Yep.
So I know we don't go to octagon control.
No, but
unless damage is even.
Islam had to fight Volk's fight because he didn't have an option. Volk made him fight. He couldn't take him down.
Right.
And if he did, he popped right back up.
Yet we're sitting here and it's an and still at 155.
Yeah, well, I think, again, I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm not, and who knows, right? Anytime you have a human factor to the judging, to the outcome of the fight, you're going to have shit like this, right?
Yeah.
And especially when it's a fighter, they want the Caucasus region, they want that Dubai, market as well and things like that, of course. And on top of that, for the UFC as a promotion, it's just simply better to have two separate fighters, both at the top of their game, put on a hell of a performance, no matter who you were supporting or wanting to win in this fight. And on top of that, I think this is the best possible way that this could have happened for the UFC because it took nothing away from Volk. Yeah. So, sure, he lost the fight, but now they have still Makhachev, maintains his winning streak, maintains his title, I don't know who in the lightweight division can put up a fight like this against Islam. The only person who I could see it being is if Beneil Dariush beats Charles Oliveira. Then I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
and especially now, you see that he's not like God. He's not unbeatable.
Yeah.
So
It definitely makes the Beneil matchup more interesting, having seen what we've seen from Beneil.
Beneil's nowhere near the striker that Volk is.
No, but Beneil does have power.
He does have power.
And maybe his power is more than Volkanovski's. Not maybe, I think it is.
I don't know, man.
I think just being I get where you're coming from, and it's hard to knock Alexander Volkanovski in any way at this point. You know what I mean?
There's a CBS Sports clip just running on the side here, and I just keep seeing the non-knockdown on the second round. It's insane to me. He dropped him, but please.
So here's what I'm saying: Beneil Dariush being a bigger frame than Alexander Volkanovski, and at this point, it's like nobody can stop singing the praises of Alexander Volkanovski.
Yeah.
But being a little more, critical or whatever the case is. Beneil Dariush is a bigger framed guy. We've seen Beneil with those big overhands that he throws from time to time. So there is definitely real power in Beneil Dariush. We've seen the spinning back fist. We've seen the Drakkar close knockout. What's interesting about it, though, is Mateusz Gamrot's grappling ability is he's got a high motor and he does not stop with that wrestling. And it's high quality, high level wrestling. Mm-hmm. 2 days ago, you asked me Beneil Dariush Islam, and I'm giving Beneil a puncher's chance. After seeing what Volkanovski, who doesn't come with a wrestling background or a grappling background at all.
Dude, he started fighting in his 20s.
Right. What he's able to do with a guy like Islam Makhachev when things aren't going his way, I got big hope for Beneil. Yeah. We're not going to see that minus 400 or 500 anymore on Islam's side. Beneil can do it. I think another guy
you still could see against the Poiriers,
I don't see it with Dustin Poirier guys, just because... I've seen Dustin Poirier get controlled on the ground. You know what I mean by Oliveira.
I'm saying I think if he fights like a Chandler or a Poirier,
so I think Chandler
you'll see those kind of lines, but not against.
But here's the thing, Dino, and not to knock. I love Michael Chandler.
I do too.
I think Michael Chandler is a guy that now I believe there's a possibility. I don't think he's going to get there.
He could catch him.
I don't think that he's going to get there.
Well, he also has the wrestling too.
But that's what I'm saying. He has the wrestling ability. He has the power.
He shouldn't get there.
He probably doesn't get there, right?
Yeah.
To get a chance to fight Islam is what we're saying.
If Conor beats Chandler, you think he fights Islam?
Maybe. Maybe.
I would honestly not want to see any part of that. But,
but hey, if Volk's touching on, who knows? Who knows? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm excited at the prospects of Beneil Dariush fighting him for the first time in a long time. And I'm excited
for Volk versus Yair, too.
Absolutely. But for the first time in a long time, and this kills me to say, because I'm a huge Charles Oliveira guy, but I really hope that Beneil beats Charles Oliveira. Just because I want to see this Beneil and Islam fight, man.
And Islam... Man, he made Charles look like regular.
Yeah.
Which is busy. I know, that's absurd. It was absurd to think about, that it was going to be that quick. But
hey, whatever. Shout out to Islam Makhachev. He did his thing, barely retained, but he retains.
I do want to just say real quick, too, and just because Islam, we have to give him the credit of how good he really is.
Right.
I know, in a way we expect, it's Islam. Dude, he just got here. As far as nobody wanted to fight him, right? He
just started fighting top guys.
He just started fighting top guys, and first fight without Khabib. It's still impressive for us. It's we've already accepted him that he's gonna be at the top.
Yeah,
but still, man, he did it right. He's here. He's
also Dino. Can I throw in something here? We forgot to mention this, but there's rumors that have come out from Dan Hooker.
Oh my God!
Dan Hooker has made
see if that's true.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Dan Hooker is basically saying that Islam Makhachev, or the way I understand it, allegedly Islam Makhachev was seen with
rehydrating with IV.
Rehydrating with IVs. You could see the mark in a few pictures. It's definitely there. It looks to be an IV drip mark. Needle mark or whatever they call it.
I don't even know. The UFC is not the type of organization to even attempt to investigate something like that.
Yeah.
Nor would I trust the UFC to investigate something like that. But fuck, if that's
I mean, that's the thing, right? A lot of people, everyone that's fought Islam except for Alexander Volkanovski has said, man, he feels strong. And the thing is, we know for a fact that the dude cuts a lot of weight. He's huge for 155. And it's crazy because we never see him struggle the next day in the octagon. When someone that's cutting 30 pounds or whatever it is, they genuinely struggle.
Yeah.
The next day. They look weak when they cut a lot of weight. That's never a problem with Islam Makhachev. It's seldom a problem with Dagestanis in general, Team Habib guys. I'm generalizing when I say Dagestanis, but the Team Habib guys,
Yeah.
the AKA guys.
Don't forget, at the end of the day, they are Russian.
And that's what I was going to get to.
I'm just saying.
That's what I was going to get to. If anyone has been known to cheat in sports, it's the Russians.
Yeah.
So,
and like government funded.
That's
like,
what I'm
cheating.
saying.
Yeah.
So
and not only that, Islam
steroid
Makhachev is like, well, he's good friends with like a lot of these Russian officials and like the Chechen like president guy and all these guys. Like, I know these guys all have ties, and it's like, okay, so you're telling me you're in touch with these people, but you don't.
Right, you don't dabble.
You don't dabble in that, and don't worry about the track mark either.
Right.
Like,
So we've had Bobby Green previously comment on steroid allegations with Islam, saying that he believes 100% he's been on steroids for a long time. Now you have Dan Hooker coming out saying he has proof. I would love to see the proof if Dan Hooker can post that. Volkanovski was asked about it on Helwani.
Nothing will ever come of it.
And sort of, like wishy-washy agreed. I know nothing's going to come of it, but I'm glad that it's coming out because something needs to be done about it if it is actually happening. It's not fair to be cutting 30, 40 pounds and then being able to use an IV drip to illegally rehydrate.
No, ask Jack Della Maddalena and ask Josh Emmett how they feel if that's the case.
That's what I'm saying. And Islam cuts more weight than those guys, I believe. So
yeah, I don't know. Josh Emmett's a thick-ass boy. But.
Yeah, but whatever. Shout out Islam. He did his thing. Shout out Alexander Volkanovski.
Shout out Alexander the Great, man.
Unbelievable, dude. Lost no credit, no stock in anybody's book.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's it, man. Excited for the Yair versus... First of all, what would you like to see next for Volk? What fight would you want to see?
I mean, it has to be the Yair fight.
I think so too. That's what I was gonna say. I wanted your thoughts on it first.
Yeah, it has to be.
I don't want to now see the rematch immediately. I do want to see the Yair fight. I do think Yair is
he deserves it.
Really good too. So,
but I do want to see Volk and Islam again. If Islam continues to hold his belt, if Islam can defend 2 more times, 3 more times, and we know he's not going to be too.
I don't want to wait that long, honestly. Even
you think 1-1?
I think 1-1 because bro, Alexander the Great is what 30.
He's old, yeah. He's getting there. He's getting there.
I gotta check now, but yeah I mean.
Islam I don't want to wait. Fighting in October in Dubai. Of course he is.
Of course. Okay, Alexander the Great's 34.
Yeah.
Turning 35 later this year, but he's at a light weight class.
Yeah.
We know that speed and skills start eroding much faster in these lighter weight classes.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait too long. I don't want to
wait. So you
want
to see him defend?
I want to see it in the next 12 to 18 months. 18 max.
Okay, so basically you're saying defend against Yair.
Yep.
And then we get Islam versus, whatever it is, the winner. If it's Beneil beats Oliveira, or if Fiziev beats Gaethje and Beneil loses.
Yeah, I don't want to see Islam Gaethje by any means. I don't want to see.
I mean, next should be Fiziev or Beneil. If Beneil wins, absolutely. It's Beneil 100% in my eyes.
What if Charles beats Beneil?
If Charles beats Beneil and Fiziev beats Gaethje, give me Fiziev. That's okay, I guess.
Who would you give the shot to then?
Fiziev probably.
Yeah,
but I think. In
reality,
you
have to do it.
It should be Fiziev versus Charles at that point for a real number 1 contender.
Yeah, that would be nice. But then you got to wait more.
Right. So.
But then at that point, then if you got to wait though, then I guess it is Volk.
Yeah. Post the Yair fight, if he could fight Yair in like June, and then he's ready to go.
What if Volk defends against Yair?
Yeah.
Who else is there to beat for him?
Right. Arnold Allen. If Arnold Allen can beat Max.
Arnold Allen,
if he beats Max,
that's a big if.
Yeah.
Could he then make the move to lightweight permanently, or do you think it would take him winning the belt to stay there then, or do you think he would go up?
I don't think he would let go of the belt. Why lose pay-per-view points? Why lose money? Why lose notoriety?
But then he would let go of the featherweight belt, or you think he would keep both? They don't. UFC don't play that anymore. They don't really let you keep 2 belts at this point.
I think if he wins both, he stays at 55.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
if they're making him stay somewhere, because why cut the weight? At that point, he's 35, 36 years old.
You're better off at the
you're
heavier,
the 45 GOAT.
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, so it's like, why not just run up and try to make an impact in this division? So, yeah.
Cool.
That's that.
Yeah, man.
I think it was a...
I would have liked to see the decision go the other way. Same. I have no other qualms or complaints about it.
Same. Next week, we got a pretty crappy card, but we'll cover that tomorrow for you guys.
We're here through the good and the bad.
The good and
always
the bad.
Here for you.
Wish he did it, man. Shout out this guy. What an absolute monster right here. This guy, stud.
Unbelievable.
So yeah.
I thought you were pointing at me for a second.
No, you're all right.
Thanks, man.
You're all right.
But that's all we got for you for this one. Yep. Tune in next week when we're breaking down the Fight Night card. Take us out, Dino.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing. If you haven't, please do that. And also follow us on Instagram at the10-7MMA. We're followed by, is it Yuri Prohaska?
Yeah, I think that's the one.
That's who it is? That's my boy.
Yeah, that's literally, I mean, that's like the podcast's consensus favorite fighter now.
Right. So he's the coolest guy that followed us.
Oh, by
you
far.
Right there watching on your phone or your laptop or your TV or whatever.
You could be the second coolest.
You could be the second coolest.
Yeah.
Just let us know. Thank you guys so much. Anything else?
No, thanks, guys.
Peace.